Mewchu didn't start as a comic book, and if you're a longtime fan of the series, you know that he wasn't Chris Chan's first Hedgehog OC. Chris wrote 4 short stories of questionable canonicity that take place in C-197, the fictional dimension Mewchu lives in. This short series will cover them individually, starting with a story Chris wrote for his senior year English class in high school. The assignment was to write a myth in the style of the Greek myths that he was studying. Chris, who had never learned to not copy popular media and infringe on copyright, decided his myth would be about Pokemon. How the Pokemon came to be in our Pokeballs has nothing to do with how Pokemon came to be in our Pokeballs, and has pictures from Pokemon Snap on the cover, along with its title sloppily written in crayon. Let's journey back now and experience this early work of art. October 30th, 1999. How the Pokemon came into our Pokeballs. For my English class in late September of this year, I had to write my own myth, so I figured, why not make a myth about how Pokemon came to be? My English teacher thought that it was a great story. So did my mom and a few other people. Since it was so good, I thought I'd feature it on this website. Click here to read my story. Enjoy. Some people say that the Pokemon came from the sky in a giant rock known as the Moonstone. Others say that they originated from the depths of nature's elements. But they are all not true. This is the true story. A long, long time ago, in the heavens above, there were such powerful gods as Zeus, Maheo, and many more. But it all started with a rookie god known as Mewchu. He had the power to help provide for the animals, plants, minerals, and to keep track of the 7 natural powers of the universe: fire, grass, lightning, water, fighting, psychic, and the power of the colorless star. Mewchu made sure that the animals and plants were fed from nature's good foods. He made sure that nature's minerals, such as rocks, dirt from the ground, and the mucky messes were used for their purpose. One day, Mewchu said to himself, "There must be a way to allow the animals, small and big, to do these tough chores, so that I may be able to be a little clean." Then he thought, why not give some of the natural powers to a new type of creature? So he went down to Earth with the power to absorb the natural powers of Earth and share it. So he stood in the middle of the Pacific, surrounded by islands of 7 and water. He decided to start with making a powerful animal to assist him in his great task. Then he found a weird creature on an island. It was mostly white, blue eyes, short arms, big feet, and a long tail with a pink fispy tip. Mewchu has never seen such an animal, so he absorbed the power of psychic from the stars, gave the creature a gentle rub on its back, and picked it up. And Mewchu said to the creature, "You, rare creature, have received the supernatural power of the psychics from the stars above us. But you would need a name, for you will be my assistant to make a new type of elemental creatures. I shall call you Mew." And then Mew jumped for joy, then set him down with some wise words. "Mew," Mewchu said, "I want you to pick some animals that are here now, and share with them the psychic power, for I would not be able to, because I may only share each elemental power only one time for one creature or more. I trust that you can share this power, while I handle the other 6 elemental powers." Then he set the Mew down on its island and went on its way. Mewchu decided to start with the power of grass, so he rubbed the grass on another island's ground, and he waved his hand over the trees. A triceratops began to lose its horns, and it turned into a creature called Bulbasaur. A caterpillar lost its fuzz. It grew a little bigger. It turned green, and it got the name Caterpie. Another caterpillar's fur only shortened. It grew a small horn. It grew a little, like the Caterpie did. It turned orange, and it became a Weedle. A rattlesnake turned purple, and grew a single yellow stripe. It became an Ekans. A rat grew small horns, turned blue, and became a Nidoran female. And another rat grew bigger horns, turned pink, and became a Nidoran male. A bat's legs turned to two tails as thin as blades of grass. Its ears grew bigger, and it became a Zubat. A tiny bush sprouted out of the ground, grew eyes, and became an Oddish. A fuzzy bush grew two teeth like a vampire. It became a Venonat. A bell-shaped palm shrunk. It became a Bellsprout. A mud puddle grew into a Grimer. 6 eggs bounced and said, "Execute." A puff of smoke became solid and mentioned coughing. A bunch of vines gathered around another Oddish. It was Tangela. A dragonfly grew and said, "Scyther." And rocks got a body of armor and said, "Pincer." What? Then Mewchu dipped his hand into the fiery volcano of another island, pulled it out, and waved his hand over the volcano. Many animals were below. A baby Tyrannosaurus got fire on its tail and yelled Charmander. A fox's tail split into 6. Maybe it's now a Vulpix. A dog turned orange and growled Growlith. A pony got burned and neighed. A chunk of ash was revived and turned into a Magmar. And a big bird flew out the volcano. It was a Moltres. Mewchu then dipped his hand in the ocean's waters, and gave another wave over another island with a big lake in the middle. A baby turtle and a squirrel on an island joined together to make a Squirtle. A fat duck turned yellow with a headache. It became a Psyduck. A tadpole got bigger with a swirl on its belly. A Poliwag came to be. A jellyfish's arms shrunk into 2. It was then a Tentacool. A Slowpoke was formed when a baby hippopotamus grew a tail. A seal turned white and grew a horn on its head. It was Seal. A shell opened up and stuck out a tongue. Hello, Shelder. A crabby came when a crab got crowned. A seahorse started to spit oil. A fish grew a horn on its head, and starfish grew a jewel. Here were a horsey, a goldeen, and a staryu. A crown from a treasure grew onto a hard shellfish. Here was a Magikarp. A rare Loch Ness monster grew a spiked shell on its back. It became a Lapras. A fossil was revived. It was an Ammonite. Out of an Arctic iceberg, an Articuno broke out. Meanwhile, Mew shared its psychic power with a Psyduck and a Slowpoke. When Mew shared it with a rat, it fell asleep, and grew into an Abra. When Mew came across the body of a dead lizard, it summoned its spirit, and shared some ghastly secrets with it. Later, Mew met an anteater. Mew put it to sleep, and the anteater became a Drowsy. Mew found 2 monkeys with an evolution. One turned into a Mr. Mime, and the other became a Jinx. Later in the night, Mew gave birth, and the baby Mew looked different. The new Mew gave its mother a psychic attack, and thrown it up a tree. Suddenly, the new Mew grew to the size that of a man with many years. It was a Mewtwo. Meanwhile, Mewchu found a barren island with sand and rocks. He punched it, and out of the ground came the fighting and ground-type creatures. Sandshrew, Diglett, Mankey, Machop, Geodude, Onix, Cubone, Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, Rhyhorn, and a Kabuto. Then, Mewchu summoned a thunderstorm, and lightning struck another island. The lightning hit a little mouse, and the mouse grew into a Pikachu. Metallic minerals rose out of the ground of a small area of the island, and it formed to make a magnemite. A coconut was struck with a piece of the metallic material carrying some of the electric power. The coconut turned metallic. It became a Voltorb. A wild cat was struck, and it became an Electabuzz. And out of the thunderous clouds came a Zapdos. And finally, Mewchu planted a transparent star in the middle of the other island, and from the star came the colorless creatures: Pidgey, Rattata, Spearow, Clefairy, Jigglypuff, Meowth, Farfetch'd, Doduo, Lickitung, Chansey, Tauros, Eevee, Porygon, and Dratini. Before Mewchu bid farewell, he waved his hand over all 7 islands, and most of the creatures evolved into more powerful creatures. And then he shouted out, "May these creatures be helpful to the earth, and may they use their abilities wisely." Then he said with a tear of joy, "Farewell, Pokémon." And Mewchu flew back to the heavens. The end. That was the first of Chris's 4 short stories. The next, which will be out soon, is the origin story for Bionic the Hedgehog. Thank you for watching. Be sure to be nice to each other in the comments, consider supporting creators you admire, and never lose sight of the things that are important to you. Thank you to my patrons, A Humble Narcissist, Abigail, Angel, Ash Perler, Blue Coon, Elijah, Hunter, Jose, Joseph, Joshua, Caitlin, Poe, Randy, Shadownexa, Snotling, Steve, twitch.tv/SumaBreakup, and Benjamins. You can follow me on Twitter at GiBi_Devin, and join my Discord, which is linked in the description.